Things change fast in the NFL, and so this one's going to be live tonight. We're going to redo what we did last night. Thanks for joining us. This is RGR Football. Welcome back. So just to give you guys an idea, Dan and I have already done this video. We recorded this Thursday night. Most game plans, so you guys know, are recorded on Thursday night because that's the last significant practice of the week. And so we have a good idea of what everything's going. We try to put our formula together and not spend every single waking moment on this team because things like today where I had some family stuff to do, they kind of, take up some time too. But we're going to go through it again from fresh perspective, and there is a lot that has changed. We'll go through that in a second. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and sub and hit the bell notification right now because you never know when we're going to have to do something else. And that's how you find out about it. For all of you guys who were able to jump in here, I see some of the members are here already. Deldrick, good point. Normal, I'm glad you're here. Dan, how are you doing on a Friday?
I woke up this morning. I wasn't expecting to see all the news just completely start dropping, from this game, the fallout from this earlier week in practice, having people not show up. And then all of a sudden, here's everyone either practicing or not practicing. And I would have expected to know some of this yesterday. Would have been nice, but here we are.
Sean Payton's crafty. I'm just going to tell you. I said it the other day, folks, and this is why. This is exactly. I'm going to fix this camera real quick. This is exactly why I said what I said earlier in the week because you just never know what Sean's going to do. And so here's the rub. Drew Brees is in. Michael Thomas is out. So it flips the whole game plan on its head, in my opinion. That's why Chris Jones is on the thumbnail for this particular video, because now it becomes about getting interior pressure as quickly as possible to make Drew not get it out accurately, because he's going to get it out fast no matter what he does.
Yeah, I appreciate the little drop in from my pup there. Mm-hmm. And so, without Michael Thomas, this pretty much almost exclusively makes it so that they're going to get the ball to Alvin Kamara quickly and all over the field. He's going to line up everywhere, and that's where Drew Brees is going to go the majority of the time. And probably also look to Emmanuel Sanders, who most of you know from the Super Bowl last year. And I think that's really what they're going to go to for these two guys. Obviously, Taysom Hill is going to play probably a large portion at halfback in this game, assuming Sean Payton doesn't, start Drew Brees and then put Taysom Hill at quarterback the rest of the game. Well,
and that's what's scary to me is a dual backfield of the two of them. As much as you'd like to see Travis Kelce throw a touchdown, Taysom can actually do it. So it comes down to they can mix and match however they want. And again, it all comes back to if Drew's in there, you have to get to him quick because he's trying to deliver the ball quickly as it already is. So affecting him becomes more difficult. It falls on Chris Jones because like you showed in your film review this week, Deshaun Wharton's making some progress. I wouldn't call him there yet, but he's definitely improved this season. But he doesn't have that same explosive, hit that gap, swim over, and be in the quarterback's face like Chris Jones does.
Yeah, not just yet. I think it's coming along, though. He's got some speed and quickness, and he's learning how to manipulate offensive linemen with his skill set and his speed and quickness. So, I mean, that's coming along, but he's just not there yet. That's going to happen with an undrafted free agent rookie. You don't know what you're going to get. So this is going to fall, like you said, on Chris Jones being able to get up to Drew Brees, because you start hitting him a little bit. I guarantee you he is not fully healthy. I don't care what their doctors said. I don't care what anybody of that coaching staff said. Drew Brees is not fully healthy after 11 fractures and what was it, a collapsed or a punctured rib? Or a lung. Sorry. Yeah, he's not fully healthy, guys. He starts taking a few of these hits, and not only is he going to feel them, but things are going to start happening in terms of getting the ball deflected or maybe inaccurate throws, and then we might start seeing a change of quarterback, depending on how hard you hit him. I mean, who knows with 11 fractured ribs?
Well, and Deldrick said it earlier just before we got launched here, and that's a very good point. It is potential. I mean, you puncture another lung. That is an emergent situation. That's what the training staff is there for, but that's pushing your luck. But I actually think that it plays into the Chiefs' hands a little bit. Because like we talked about, or except you guys didn't get to see it, Drew does want to deliver it quickly. He's been getting the ball out faster as the years have gone on, certainly this season. Yeah. And so that allows them to hit shorter routes. They're not hitting the deep things when Drew is throwing the ball. That actually helps the Chiefs because I think the Chiefs can win at the cornerback position early in routes. It's when you let them elongate that you get in trouble. So you want to hit him, but you don't want to hit him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand that. This should allow Spags to let Ward and Breeland play a little bit more press, what they're good at. If he's trying to get the ball out in like under 2 seconds, which is typically what he's trying to do, you have to allow the corners to play a little bit more physical in that first 5 yards because that's going to, one, force Drew Brees to hold the football, or you're going to start getting hits now. This becomes the game plan is you got to start getting some pressure early. We're probably going to see some different kinds of blitzes. Hopefully Chris Jones can get in there quickly. Maybe some Frank Clark-ish. Something got to happen, you guys. They're going to have to do something on the defensive front. Maybe not as many stunts. Maybe just kind of go quickly off because you're trying to get to Drew Brees as quickly as you can. And those stunts take a little bit of time to unfold. So I expect we're going to see some A-gap pressure pretty early in the game. Some press coverage on the outside and, allow Matthew to really allow him to play what he does best, his robber roll in that first 10 yards. The ball's not going to travel very far down the field, so that's going to allow him to do what he does best.
Which then sets up Tyron at the robber and Juan at the deeper safety. And Juan played over 50% of the snaps last week. We can count on him playing a healthy amount this week. Don't know exactly what it'll be, but it also comes down to the fact that if I'm Steve Spagnuolo, and folks, this is the game plan video, so we're putting it out there. This is what our game plan would be. And for me, and it's not to ride the whole thing that we've been doing all season that Willie needs to play more. The fact is Willie Gay is your best blitzer at the linebacker level. You have to send him. You have to attack the A-gap with him. And that allows you, like Dan was saying, the twist takes time. You just got to fill those gaps and get after it straight ahead. And I think that's something, if they really want to get to him and fluster him a little bit, he hasn't been hit. He hasn't been on the field. So he hasn't been hit in a month plus. This is something that I think can actually pay off. And if you get him misfiring, that's the key. Yeah. Misfiring Drew is much better than knocking him out of the game and having to deal with the running of Taysom Hill and with the fact that Taysom will hold it and try to go deeper.
Exactly. And that's going to be the thing is, who knows what Sean Payton's going to do with Drew Brees, whether it's, play half and half, which I'm more leaning towards just a little bit just because of that Drew Brees wants to get the ball quickly. He's still hurting, I would imagine, and that's going to force them to throw the ball even quicker. So I think we're going to see more packages with Taysom Hill at quarterback, and that's going to stress the defense. So Steve Spagnuolo is going to have to have a bunch of different options and packages to be able to get on the field quickly when he realizes that Taysom's the quarterback and be able to switch in and out of things. So we might see more big nickel because that allows guys like Hitchens and Willie Gay to be on the field and stop some of those runs, but also play coverage enough that you can kind of mix what you're doing in the back end.
Yeah, and I'm looking for overloads constantly. I don't care if the linebackers have to show one side and actually twist themselves. I think that may actually pay off better than trying to twist at the line. It's all a game, and I see some interesting. Jeff, I know you're working, so I'm glad you made it. But guys, Jeff calls high school games all the time, so he is a busy dude. But appreciate you jumping in here, Jeff. Hot and spicy. I think you're right. They might start Sorensen on Kamara. It ain't going to last long because he's going to get torched. I think they're just stubborn enough to try it, though, until they have to go away from it.
I would hope at this point that Steve Spagnuolo goes away from it. But how often was Dan Sorensen on the field last week? 100% of the snaps, guys. 100%. He's going to be covering Kamara most of this game. I'm willing to bet.
Yeah,
willing.
I threw up in my mouth right there. Tatum, thank you for the super chat. We much appreciate it. Guys, if you want to support us and you like what we do, grab a t-shirt at the store. I got some mugs and whatever stuff. That always helps. Super chats always help as well. And I'm glad that you had something to say about his because you bring up a good point. People said that last week. It's like they didn't watch any of the earlier games of the season. The blueprint's been out there for a while. It still doesn't work.
No. This is ridiculous. Come on now. So let's lay it out real quick. The blueprint is to make sure the Chiefs turn over the ball 4 times in going into score. That's the blueprint. And then guess what? Make sure you score more than 30 points. They still scored 30 points. They scored 33 points, turning the ball over 4 times in the opponent territory. There's the blueprint. Have at it.
Yeah, good luck reproducing it. I do feel that there are some things that they do have to do on offense. They have to change what they've been doing a little bit, because I don't think you can run those naked rollouts anymore. I don't think that actually gives Mahomes more time to throw. I think he's going to have somebody like Cam Jordan that will come off of his attachment. He can disengage from any tackle the Chiefs have to throw at him and be in Patrick's face really quickly. So I don't think that's a good plan. If you're going to bootleg, you got to give him a blocker out front.
They do that, and then, I mean, the problem with bootlegging is, one, it takes away half the field, okay? Automatically, it takes away half the field. If you max protect it, you have 2 routes at the most that you're probably going to be running. I don't like that, and I've seen it far too often from Andy Reid. Just, I get, like, trying to get Mahomes moving and out of the pocket, but you're condensing the field, and you're also bringing guys into block because, one, like you said, Cam Jordan's coming off the end there, and Eric Fisher's probably not going to be 100%. He's going to play, I would imagine, but he's not going to be 100%. So, I mean, they're going to have to do something different and not really let that happen because he's going to have Cam Jordan in his face quickly, and they're going to still play well enough in the back end to stop those 2 routes that you're running towards Mahomes. So they're going to have to figure out something else, whether it's more RPO stuff, which I would imagine we see this week, running and throwing the football. So that's what I'm leaning towards seeing from this offense, because that's going to allow you to get the ball out quickly and also have multiple things that you have to defend as a defense.
Yeah. And, I think the line, I think Fisher will play. I don't think he's 100%, but I think that gives them a viability to play their game a bit more. Now, Hayward, I'd have to look at his snaps specifically, but I do believe he plays on the right tackle more of the time. I don't think it's a drastic split. I wanted to say it was like 62% over there or something last time I looked. But it's enough that you feel like, okay, he's going to go up against whoever's at right. It looks like it's going to be Durant right now. We don't know that. But again, that makes you want to roll the opposite way.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes things more difficult. So for me, it tells me not only do you have to have the jet motion, do you have to have the behind the line of scrimmage type horizontal maneuvers. You got to run those quick drags with the slot and not just Kelsey. In fact, I would do the opposite. I'd run Kelsey over the top and let the drag come under him. But they have to be able to hit things quickly as well until they get a feel for how the Saints are approaching this.
Exactly. And I would have probably McCole and Hill on the field with those crossing routes a lot of the time, because then you can attack cross with them, also have the middle of the field of Sammy and Kelsey. That gives you options because you're probably not going to have enough time to get deep very often unless you max protect. And that's going to obviously create some differences with what you have running routes. So they're going to mix some things up. And I would hope that McCole and Hill have some of the shorter routes. Obviously, I think we're going to see some more involvement with Clyde in the pass game along with Bell. They're going to have to do some different things with the running backs and the faster guys to be able to get the ball out quickly to create more yards after catch opportunities. That's really the options they're going to have with the injuries they have up front. They haven't been able to do much for Mahomes with protection. He's just made them look better than they are because he's so good at avoiding pressure.
Yeah, and that really does work. And Stevie, you said it right. That's what we understand from Andy today, is that it looks like Fish is in. It looks like he's feeling better. And sometimes for a veteran who pulls something, like I said on the podcast this week, I want to say it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember. It's not like he has to have the reps. Eric Fisher is such a veteran in this offense that he doesn't have to have the reps. He can take the week off. There are veterans around the league to take multiple days off every single week. That's not really the problem. It's about whether it's one thing to start a game. It's a whole other thing to finish a game. And that's what I'm concerned about. That said, with what you were just talking about, crossing routes, especially with McCole and Tyreek, that also leads into you can lull people to sleep. And I think that they can, because there's going to be opportunity, especially if you run the crossers early, to then set it up for play action or RPO action at least, to go deep. Because Marshawn Lattimore thinks he's out there fine and dandy. He took it up a notch, even said, hey, they're good, we're good. Somebody explain to this kid, he hasn't done this yet. Like, this is the public stream. I'm not going to start cussing, but this stuff pisses me off.
I know, man. You got guys that have never played Tyreek Hill. They've never seen it up close. And he's out here running his mouth. So as much as I want them to do everything to get the ball out quickly, I want them to isolate Tyreek on Lattimore and just have him run deep down the field. I want to see it because there's no way you can keep up with Tyreek Hill. Sorry, guy. Like, I don't think there's any corner in the NFL that can keep up with him. You just have to do enough to slow him down in that first 5 yards, which good luck getting your hands on him because he's just that quick. So, I mean, Jalen Ramsey did the best job we're ever going to see.
And it used to be 2 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. Back then, I would say Tariq had still some trouble getting off the line and fighting through that press. He doesn't have that anymore. That's yesterday, bro. You're watching 2-year-old film if you think that you're going to be able to get your hands on him effectively. I think it's crazy, and it's one of those things because I'm a Lattimore fan. That's honestly what has me so upset.
Good corner.
Exactly. And I like watching him play. Don't be stupid and put yourself out there like that. Just be humble and play the game and shut up. It drives me insane.
I just hope that they do what the Buccaneers did. Play their game. You want to one-up Tyreek? Go for it.
And Heather, I'm glad you said this, and I'm glad that you're here. We don't get them as ladies in the chat that often. I don't want to see them break Brees either. I'm a Brees fan. I have been. When he was like, screw it, I'm getting out of San Diego, I was all for it. I like the guy. I know he's had some things about, social justice. He's stepped on himself more than once. That's certainly true. But on the field, I really like the way that the guy plays, and I don't want to see them because I do fear any kind of weight coming down on him in a sack type situation.
That's a scary thought.
It's a hair's breadth, right? I mean,
he's an all-time great. He's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks to go down. He's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. He's got the records. Obviously, he's got a Super Bowl. He's trying to get that last one before he retires. It's just, I mean, he's getting to the end of his rope. And I think this year, if they don't get it, I think he's done. Especially after this 11 fractured ribs.
Well, and that's what brings me back to it, too. Like, for Drew, you're like, listen, I've done all this. I've got all these yards. I've won a Super Bowl. This kid's the next best. This kid might be the best ever. I want to go up against him. If I can beat him, that seals it for me. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm Drew Brees, there's no way in hell I'm missing this game. Yeah. Because this is something that will go down, and this might be his last season. It might be this game, or they might get to see each other again there in February. That's it.
I think that's the hope right now. You're kind of hoping you can see him one more time, so you're going to get that little advantage to play them now and see what you can get from them. But that's the thing about Andy Reid. You're going to see it this time, and you're not going to see it again next time. He's got something different for you. So does Sean Payton. So offensively speaking, like, this is not going to be what they would see in the postseason if that were to happen. It's going to be, this is going to be a game now. I think that yesterday when we recorded, I was feeling a little bit differently than I am now. Everything that's transpired over this last 24 hours has really made me feel differently about how this game is going to go. And Eric Fisher playing, I did mention it yesterday when we recorded, was the big thing for me. If he didn't play, I was not exactly comfortable in the situation. But I think seeing him, run a little bit on the field in practice today, have a full practice on Friday, that gives me reason to believe that he's going to, do everything he can to push through this and try to get that, this win against the Saints, because then you have the Falcons and the Chargers coming up, and then hopefully you can get that bye. So this is kind of like at the top of the mountain, and they want to kind of push through this game. So I know that they're leaving the door open for Remmers. I don't think he's going to play in this game, but I think Fisher is, like you said, at this point, he doesn't need the practice. He doesn't need the reps. It was all about the rest, and I think they got that for him.
Yeah. I mean, and you said it right. At the end of the day, this is the game. This is the hurdle, right?
Yeah.
This is the one you're scared of on the rest of the roster. So, protect him at all costs. Of course, I agree with you about Remmers. I think he's going to be like inside of a glass box that you got to break if you really need it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire situation a couple weeks ago. He's going to be active. He's not going to play.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. If you need him, you can go to it. That's okay. Yeah. Like, I think Wiz will get activated. That's just my personal feeling. Yeah. I don't know. Fetty, you had a good question. We don't have a timeline on Schwartz. I feel it won't be until after the bye week. I expect the Chiefs to earn the bye week. If they don't, you might see them play a wild card game without Schwartz, and then he'll step in. I don't think I don't think we've seen him play his last game. If for those of you that are out there worried about that, I think he will play again. I don't know how long.
Yeah, I'm worried this is the last season we'll see him as a tackle. That's kind of where I'm at.
Could be. I don't know. I am not even going to try to say your name. I know you've asked this a couple of times. The Ward is not an injury. I don't think that you have to be.
He came back into the game last week, if I remember.
I don't think there's anything to be nervous about that. But Baker, from what I hear, is on plan in terms of moving along. He could get elevated at some point. It might be this week. It might be later. I don't expect him to play yet. That's still working into shape and all that, learning terminology. But at some point, you do want to get him on the game day roster, let him play a few special team snaps, get that kind of rust off. You have to do that because you don't have many opportunities left that aren't playoff games. So I do expect to see that fairly soon.
Yeah, right now I do also expect them to earn the bye, and I expect week 17 to be kind of like a just playing game. They don't necessarily have to win that game. Obviously, I think you don't want to give everyone 2 weeks off. That seems to be a bad idea in terms of building rust. So maybe we see a quarter or two out of everybody. Then we start seeing like guys like DeAndre Baker get in there just to play. Because like you said, he hasn't played in like a year, guys. He's going to have rust, and he's not going to have those legs that he needs to even get in the game and be productive as a corner. And that's something that he's going to have the opportunity to do against the Chargers team at week 17. If they choose to do that, who have a couple guys that can run under a 4.4, some of their younger guys that we've seen, I don't really know much about them, but I know they run sub 4.4. So that'll be an opportunity to get him accustomed to what he's going up against.
Speaking of sub 4.4, folks, just one little note. I had a little birdie tell me this weekend that there are people in the know that feel like Smith has completely overtaken the wide receiver group in this coming draft, and that Waddle might actually last to the second round.
See, this is what happens.
Done deal. You want to get real scary? Put that guy on this roster. I'm just going to say that right now. As much as I love Pat Surtain, I'd do that over it. Just crush everyone. Sorry. 89, I think you have a good point. If Drew were to get hurt again, you could see Jameis. I don't think they want to, and I don't think they should, but hey, I'm fine with it. Doesn't scare me in the slightest. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, he's got to get into garbage time before he's good. So,
is there any part of you that thinks starting Brees, especially without MT?
Without Michael Thomas.
Oh, yeah, all right, okay. Would actually be less dangerous. Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier, Ryan, if you missed it. Because it shortens up the depth of what Drew's willing to throw. I think that plays into the Chiefs' hands a little bit. Yeah, we talked about Remmers. Cool. Anybody else? If you guys have questions, throw them out. We are at that point in the conversation. Let's see. You're very right, Stevie. I was shocked by that. And I'm a little disappointed, I got to tell you, because I like Lattimore. Kind of makes me angry.
All we'll say is he's about to see firsthand. He's about to see firsthand, guys. I can tell you that right now.
This is going to hurt.
Tyreek saw that too. Just remember, he saw it too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And he's not one that misses stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Spicy. Cam Jordan is tough, and Durant is going to have a full day. I will say this. Durant has decent feet. And so the one thing that can help him is using those, not getting too overblown. One thing that Cam Jordan's going to get you to do is to overset high and then come back inside on you. You got to be able to ride him to the ground at that point.
I expect them to bring a bowl of chips to this game.
Yeah.
So, let him ride it outside. Have Durant just stay to the inside a little bit. Give Jordan a little bit of a shove there. Maybe he'll stop doing that so much.
Maybe. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty effective too, but I'm not going to say feast, Spicy. I'm not going to say feast.
Not just yet. Wait till about second quarter. We'll start talking about it.
Josh, I have absolutely no idea. I cannot answer.
Andy doesn't either. Andy doesn't either. So
right? It's a comfort factor just in case. Spicy, that's what I thought too. But hey, when you start hearing from people who actually talk to execs
this year, there's no way to know what's going to happen. This entire year has screwed up a lot of things. Guys opting out, talent dropping because they didn't play this year. Yep. Just kind of have to wait to see, because this is going to be one of the biggest crapshoot drafts. We just don't know what's going to happen.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first quarterback off the board. I am still 100% certain of that. Everything else after that, even at the quarterback level, I think is up for grabs. We've heard a lot of churn in the last, 3-4 weeks of people actually digging in the film and coming up with concepts that it isn't what we thought it was 3 months ago. And there are still some conferences that are going to play ball in the spring, so we don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Frank is looking healthier to me, Ryan. I agree with you. I hope that is accompanied by a sense of urgency as well.
I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, we're starting the end of the season here, so he's got to get going.
Yeah, Josh, I would like to see that. I think it all depends on Remmers. I don't think Remmers will play. I think they're going to put in Durant and try to see what happens.
Yep.
I personally would like to see Wiz start getting some reps, period, just to get him ready for the postseason. But that's me. Let's see, Daryl. I want a rematch with the Chiefs in Green Bay. I personally would dig that myself. If you guys don't know, I have family that are big, huge, enormous, like they own the bricks at the stadium Packer fans. So yeah, that would be
that'd be a fun Super Bowl. And I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a weird dude, but he's a great quarterback. And that would be probably one of the matchups to see in the last 25 years.
Yeah, arm for arm.
It'd be one of. It'd be great. Granted, Devontae Adams would eat everybody alive, but Patrick Mahomes would get his too.
Yeah, right. That's a fair point. Gemini, I think that's a little high myself, but I don't think you're very far off. I think the top end's around 35, but we'll get to our predictions here in a minute. And we'll see how much they changed from last night, Dan.
I can tell you that
much. Do you think the Tyron's going to guard Jared Cook? I hope not. I hope
no.
not. If anything, Tyron needs to be the guy that is in the robber and comes out on Kamara. That's one way to attack. He's still at a disadvantage because Amar running a route has the head of steam. They're going to put Sorensen on Cook. They're going to hope that he gets the same performance that they got out of Cook last time he was a Raider. Yeah. And Dan can pick off two of them.
I mean, Derek Carr's not quarterback, so
it does make things different, right?
I know.
Oh man, it would be pretty incredible. Good point, Fetty. I didn't get into this because I didn't see the news until late. Tajay Sharp's really interesting. Again, somebody that can run good routes, has the athleticism. I don't know about the flat out speed. I'd have to go look him up again. But I would put him not on par with Hardman and Hill, but still probably quicker than probably the average across the league, if I remember right.
From what I remember, I mean, there was a good 5-game stretch with the Titans like 3 years ago that he was like legitimately relevant. He's dropped off since then, and I don't really know what happened to him. Then now he's on the practice squad because Marcus Kemp went to sign with the Dolphins, and so it looks like they're trying more for a special teams guy. That seems to be the idea with this because you lose Kemp, and I mean, you kind of need a special teams guy. You don't have Pringle. He's on IR. So this seems to be what it is to me. I don't know for sure.
He actually got on the practice field this week.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. Technically, they could activate him over the weekend. I'm not sure. I don't think they will, but you never know, really. Hey, that's a good point. South Jag, it would be the State Farm Bowl. I like that. I mean, they got to be hoping. I don't know what those advertising execs are thinking.
They are praying right now. The State Farm's just like writing the checks. They already have them. They're just waiting. They're just waiting.
And honestly, like, I would not be surprised just because people want to project as well. I wouldn't be surprised if when they filmed all those commercials in the summer, because we heard about those 2 weeks that Patrick did all that, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something together about that. Just in case.
Just in case, yeah. That would make sense.
I think that'd be hilarious. Let's see who else is in here. Virginia. Who do you think has a bigger game, Hill or Kelsey? Man, that's tough. I'm gonna take the under and go with Hill.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, because I think they're gonna use him more in the run game this week as well, and that's gonna allow him to pile up some yards. And I think he's got more speed than anybody on that Saints defense. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson could have a chance at some angles, but I mean, Tyreek's gonna get some yards in this game, guys. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure. Fetty, another good question. I'm glad you're here to ask these questions. I will tell you my impression, then I want to hear Dan's because he looked at the film more deeply than I did this week. I felt like he came in and he was not only serviceable, but I'd rather see him on the field. I'd rather see Snead out wide instead of Ward.
Yeah, we actually talked about this earlier in the year. Like, we thought that Fenton's has not only progressed to the point of being more than a serviceable backup, he's a guy that kind of edging his way out of the field as a starter. And when you're a 6th-round pick, like, I watched his tape for, I think it was Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
South Carolina?
Maybe. I don't
Virginia,
remember.
maybe?
I don't remember exactly where he was, but I watched his tape and I was not impressed. I mean, I understood why he was a 6th-round pick, but you come into this, he fits in this defense. He's physical. He's got that long speed. He's got a little bit more wiggle, not a lot of wiggle, but more wiggle than Ward. And so he's got the ability to play wherever you want to. He can play kind of safety. He can play kind of slot. He can play on the outside. So he's a guy that is definitely finding his way out into this defense. And I think that he's earned more starting, more reps in this defense so far. And I mean, I think Ward's regressed, and I think we just kind of have to accept that I don't think he's on the team next year, and Fenton kind of overtakes that spot.
Ooh, that's a stretch because both Ward and Breland are free. Do you think that they let Ward go and they bring Breland back, or do you think neither of them?
I think that's if they can't. I think okay. So here's what I think: if they can't bring Breland back, then they probably bring Ward back. I think it's going to be one or the other. I don't think it's going to be both. I just think that if you can get Breland, that's ideal.
Yeah,
and then let Ward walk. That would be me.
I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you now. Heather, I certainly hope that you're right. I think that would be very interesting, quite frankly. I haven't been able to directly boast about them to any of my family that are Packers fans. There's plenty of them, especially because like I was on a cruise last year when the two teams played. I watched it on the Lido deck or whatever that was. That was fun. But I had to hear about it for the next 6 months. Yeah. So I'm ready for a Chiefs Packers game again. I gotta.
I mean, you can kind of throw that game out though because Patrick Mahomes didn't play.
Well, I know, but still, they don't care. They're not going to let me forget about it. I'll tell you that. Gemini, good question. It's really difficult to double him in any sort of way because by the time he gets past the line of scrimmage, he's usually loose, and he's so elusive. You can't bring somebody down, say from like. From a high safety to try to take him on or something like that, he's just going to cut straight away.
Yeah.
I think what you have to try to do is get somebody up closer to the line of scrimmage, which unfortunately would take Tyron out of his robber role.
Yeah.
And let him shadow a little bit. That's what you have to do, in my opinion.
It's all you can do because, like you said, as soon as he gets any glimpse of open field, and that's what they're going to do with the running back out of the backfield, he's going to have space to work, and it's not good, especially if you got guys like Sorensen standing still as he's coming out of the backfield, which he always seems to be doing. He's going to get run by, and most of these guys are going to get run by Kamara if they're trying to play close to the line of scrimmage. That's just kind of how it is. He's just that good.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to have to get their hands on balls. That's what they're going to have to do. Hands up and get him on the ball.
Passes. He's one of the few people in this league that I would say that I wish they had a way to go get him. Yeah. And because there are very few situations on this roster that I feel that they could significantly upgrade. And it's nothing against Lev and CH, but Kamara is a unique breed. And in this offense, it would be incredible. In fact, I'm going to go do that in Madden tonight. Just for myself. Spicy. I don't think that they have to. Therese Paylor said something last week on his podcast just before he came on the show. And if you guys missed that, the insight that Therese has is incredible because he still knows this team really well. And he knows a lot of the guys that are working for this team. So go check out that video that I put up. And for you members, you got the bonus one too. Go check that out. I know memberships are something new, and I'm trying to give you guys bonus material that is worth your time. Everything that Therese and I spoke about is worth your time, so check that out.
Really
but what I would do is I believe that Snead becomes your next outside corner.
Yeah,
out of the blue. If you can get Ward or Breland back, you're over there. I would still draft a number one corner myself. Brett Veach won't, but that's what I would do.
I said earlier in the year, Brett Veach started the hashtag that cornerbacks don't matter. He's going to take them wherever he wants to. And that worked out because I think Snead's the number one corner on this team already. And just imagine what he's going to do as he progresses going forward. You guys saw it in the video this week. If you watched it, he's got everything. He's got the ball skills. He's got the hip fluidity. He's got the footwork. He has all of it. Athleticism, speed. He's got it all.
Yeah. And for those of you that are new, that haven't been here since last draft cycle, Snead was one of my number one picks 2 weeks before the draft. So we'll identify some other options and he's the perfect match because he has the athleticism, the tenacity, and the versatility to play in this defense, but they didn't have to take him on the first top 100 picks. We will identify more of those as we find them. So you don't want to miss us during draft season either. We have a kind of a scary knack for figuring out what they want to do. Not necessarily what I would do, but hey. Let's see.
Running up the gut for multiple times a week.
Right. We'd have 4 fullbacks if it were up to me. No tailback needed. Do Wharton and Dana each get another sack? What do you think?
So for me, I don't know if there's going to be many sacks to be had this week. I think it's going to be a lot of trying to get your hands up and get your hand on those balls that are coming out quick from Drew Brees. That's kind of going to be Wharton, Chris Jones, Frank Clark. They're going to have to get their hands up because exactly what we talked about. Drew needs to get the ball out quick so it doesn't get hit. So as much as I would love for them to get sacks, unless they go to Taysom Hill, who wants to get the ball downfield a little bit more, then I'm going to say they're not going to have as many sacks as we would have liked to see. Yeah,
but I will say this too. I think Chris Jones is starting to up his game again. Mm-hmm. He's starting to rise just like we saw last year. Hopefully Deshaun Wharton can do that as well because I think they have the opportunity, not only because the ball's coming out fast, but because it's Drew Brees, you have more opportunity to bat the ball. And I think there's going to be more of those this game. And that's fine. That's still a PBU, folks. That's still a significant play as a defender. So I'll take
as we saw last week, deflections turn to interceptions.
Absolutely. So keep them coming. Don't shy away from those. South Jag, I would love to see it. I do not think that you will. I think in order to combat that defense, spreading out is probably your best bet. Single back is most likely, unless you're in a short yardage. And then maybe I would love to see a split back in the red zone where you can go either way with an RPO. I think that would be great, but I don't know if that's what they're looking to do.
I think we're going to see more Sherman in this game. So in essence of 2 running back sets, yes, I think we're going to see a little bit more just because they're going to have to use him to block and chip, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would love it. I'm not even.
I know you're just sitting there waiting. You're just like, please get me that wheel route again.
It will come back around. Hell no! I want to see the jet with him. I want to see the jet motion out of the fullback. Oh, it would crush. Are you kidding me?
Man, that'd be making the waves all week.
And I don't want to hear from anybody in Chiefs Kingdom about how Sherm needs to go. I will be the lone.
I did see a couple of those tweets over the past week.
I did too. It ain't nobody aiming them at me because they know what I'll say. So South Jack, thanks for your super chat. I appreciate that. Cole, we were talking about that before. It seems like it's a long shot. I'll put nothing past him, though. The competitor that he is, I will not count him out.
Playing against Patrick Mahomes gives you that extra oomph.
Right? Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Let's see here. Houston Texans talk. What do you guys think about EB for the Texans coach? Is he the right guy? He's the right guy at any organization in this league. The question is, what's best for EB? And that is wherever Louis Riddick lands, period.
Yep. That's what we've talked about it before. He's going to interview with both the Texans and actually he already did with the Texans and Lions because today it's Friday. So wherever he goes, I think that's the perfect landing spot for Eric Bieniemy. Granted, if they both landed in Houston, that would be ideal for him too to work with Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's kind of how it feels. But there's also the opportunity to go to Detroit and possibly get your own new quarterback. Like there's going to have some options. So granted, Detroit's one of the most terribly run organizations in the NFL. So you never know. Maybe they just say, man, maybe next time, guys.
There is that. Hog Farmer will just go right back to the top for you, since you're here. Afro Samurai, I know a lot of people still miss him. And, he's very good at what he does. But let's remember, he doesn't run inside the tackles that great either. So it's not like he's an upgrade. The difference is the way that he was used. I think they're going to get to that with CEH, so I don't think you have to worry about it. And eventually, we're going to stop comparing the two because, quite frankly, the headache that goes along with Kareem Hunt is just too much for this organization to handle.
You guys, I'm going to let you remember something. Remember something. The offensive line that Kareem Hunt played behind for his first 2 seasons was 10 times better in run blocking than this one that we're looking at right now. Yeah. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is doing more with less because he's having to make guys miss in the backfield, and they're still running him between the tackles to get 3 yards because they don't block well up front. That's just kind of what it is. And Kareem Hunt was very good. He was running behind Mitch Morse most of his career in Kansas City.
I was going to say, that's the big thing everybody forgets. Kareem got let go. Mitch left the next season, in the next offseason. So, like, that whole line kind of disintegrated in terms of being able to run at that point.
Alex Smith was his quarterback his first season. They wanted to run the ball.
Right. So, Daryl, thank you for getting us here. We need to do our predictions, so we're going to get to that. I know there's a couple other super chats. I want to make sure that I get to them. But thank you, Gemini. I'll look at that. I don't have a vendor for those right now that can take my designs, but we'll find out. We'll keep looking around. So this comes down to it. So at this point, forget what we talked about last night. Let's start from scratch. How do you see this game going?
So I'll let you guys know what I said last night. So I assumed that Eric Fisher wasn't going to play in this game, and that was one of the make or break things for me. I thought if he didn't play, that they were not going to win this game. And now I'm feeling much different about this game. I'll tell you what, 24 hours can do some crazy things with your mentality and going into it. But now we have a prime game. It's at the 4:25 slot. It's America's game of the week. You have Drew Brees. You have Patrick Mahomes. This is a game that everyone wants to get up for. Like, you have most of your offensive line intact. Fisher's coming back. Patrick Mahomes talked about it earlier in the week. He wants to play Drew Brees. He wants to play him. This is now we get to see it, and this is going to be Patrick Mahomes coming in, and he's going to be lighting it up. But I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as we've seen in the past. I think it's going to be more 28-24 game, and the Chiefs are going to win.
Marshawn Lattimore calling you. Watch out. Still going to make me mad. I will get to my prediction here in a second. Houston Texans talk. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. I know I'm a little behind in the chat. I just wanted to shout you out there before I got there. For me, I'm pretty much feeling the same way. Yeah. This makes me feel a lot better with Fish back. And I know that he's gotten a lot of static over the years. But we will miss him when he's gone because he is better than we remember. I think this allows them to be more like themselves and not have to adapt their game plan as much. I do believe that Cam Jordan's going to be trouble on the other side. Yeah. So I think there's still going to be an adjustment that needs to be made. But until Schwartz is back, and I see a lot of you are asking about Schwartz, we just don't know, you guys. It would be great to have him. It would certainly help, but we just don't know when that's going to be. So I still feel like, all that said, I feel like as good as that Saints defense is, this is going to turn into a shootout because I think Taysom can take advantage of the Chiefs defense just as much as Drew can. So I do feel scoring is going to be a little bit higher. I'm going to be higher than Dan. I'm going to go 35-31, but I do believe the Chiefs go to the Superdome and get that win that they have to have. Patrick's talking about Marshawn's talking too much, and I think in the end that has a big, big thing to do with it.
I'll tell you what. Like I said earlier, Tyreek heard that stuff too. Like he's going to be looking for those deep shots, and they're going to try to get him the ball down the field, and they're going to connect on at least 2 of them. Write it down, 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think about it, Tyreek's got a bumper sticker on the back of his car or whatever that says just an all-pro punt returner. Like, he's got that chip and he needs it. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I love it.
It's crazy. Oh man. All right, I want to make sure we get everybody's questions tonight since this was kind of an ad hoc jump in. Thank you to Aaron and to Jeff being in here. Didn't give those guys any warning because we didn't know it was going to happen until late.
Thank you so much, guys. Again, thank you.
Yeah, and from everybody here at the RGR team, if you guys want to get to know the other guys, we all do stuff. Like Jeff, I'll have his thing set up tomorrow. He will have his stat of the week. I'm just slow at it because it's been a bad week for me. Once a month, we're going to get together, and the whole RGR staff's going to be on Zoom call with the members. If you get up to that starter level and above, or all pro and above, whatever it is, so that you can see them, because these guys put in work that you don't necessarily see. I get to deliver some of their work, and people think that I make every video on this channel, and there's absolutely no way in the world I could ever do that. So I just want to say that out loud for all the guys that contribute here, and the guy who keeps us all straight in these live chats. that are the most fun, honestly.
Yeah.
Dan and I can talk all night long if we want. It's just the two of us. But when Aaron actually gives us a room that we can respond to, you know,
it's a lot of fun.
Aaron, I do have hats in the pipeline. They're having trouble with the logo because of the dimensionality of it. So again, I'm looking for another vendor. Once again, that's just the way that it goes. For everybody that was here tonight, thank you for jumping in on Friday night. For Virginia, for Heather, for all the ladies that made it. Ange didn't get here tonight, but she'll be here next time, I'm sure. Love to see the group expanding, and it's not just us same 5 football dorks talking football. So. We appreciate the time. Dan's wife is home, so we're going to let him go. I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll have post game for you. Enjoy this one. It's going to be fun. We'll talk to you next time.